I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Thanks, everyone, for joining this evening. First item on the agenda is going to be public comment. I'd like to remind everyone that we're limiting public comments to 3 minutes this evening. Kate, does anyone have public comments tonight?
If anyone does have public comment, please raise your hand.
Okay.
Not seeing anything.
All right, seeing none, we will move on to the next item. So under new business, discuss and take action on a resolution to reduce the Great Island acquisition authorization and appropriation by $11,693,633. So as a reminder, what this is about is that when we had the original resolution or bonding resolution to author or to fund the acquisition of Great Island, the amount that was appropriated by the RTM equaled the amount that we thought we were going to have to spend when the original price proposal was accepted, and that was $103,465,000. So since then, after that, actually, the total cost of the project was negotiated down by Monica and by Jim Palin for a much lower price in the $85 million range. And we ended up bonding actually only $91,771,367. So we've spent most of that amount, obviously, on the purchase of the island. There's also been some get-ready investments, if you will, and there's more of those to come. So there still are some outstanding bonded funds. But what this resolution does is that it releases the amount that was appropriated for Great Island, but for which we never bonded and actually received cash for, if you will. And that amount is $11,693,633. One thing that we do have towards the end of the resolution, if you look in your package, there is a schedule of Great Island closing expenditures. And so what you'll see on there is basically this difference of call it $6.5 million, split among site preparation, repairs, parking and access improvements, consulting fees, and some other things. So again, what we want to do is keep the funds appropriated for which bond proceeds have been received, but they're unspent because we will use those funds, but to release the remaining unbonded appropriation, if you will. Kate, any further comments on that?
No, you summed it up pretty well.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any comments, questions?
I support this.
Okay. Sarah?
My only concern is what happens if we get bids for the road widening and it is not 1.3 and it's 2.3?
We would have to come back for an additional appropriation.
Okay.
Yeah, the theory of that case is that, look, to the maximum extent possible, when the RTM votes on appropriating funds, I'd love for it to be very specific in nature so that they know what they're voting for. And to your point, if the road ends up being road widening ends up being much more costly than we wanted, I mean, personally, I'd like to go back to the RTM and give them a chance to hear the reasons why and give them a chance to weigh in. So it seems fair. I mean, they are the appropriating body for the town. And so just releasing unused appropriations like this reinforces their right to make appropriation decisions, which we don't have the right to do.
But John, there is in the $6 million, there is money set aside for the road widening.
Well, yes, it is in there. But to Sarah's point, should the price for that road widening exceed the amount of bonded funds that we have available, we would have to go back for an appropriation to cover that.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. If there are no other questions, then could I get a motion to? And by the way, this has been voted on by the Board of Finance, correct, Kate?
Yes, and you're
Okay.
recommending it to the RTM.
Right. So could I get a motion to recommend to the RTM a resolution amending the appropriation and bond authorization of $103,465,000 for the purchase of 60 acres known as Great Island to decrease the appropriation and bond authorization by $11,693,633 dollars. Let's see.
I'll move.
Sorry, Mike moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor. Okay, unanimous, terrific. All right. Next item up for consideration is discuss and take action on a request from the Great Island Advisory Committee to hire consultants and develop the Great Island Master Plan. Monica.
So we've been talking about this for a while. We've been working on it for a while, right? We started back in January and February, drafting an RFQ and an RFP. We had 16 highly qualified firms submit RFQs. We had at least 16 submitted, 6 submitted RFPs, and submitted over 100 questions. The committee conducted 16 reference checks on the 4 firms that we interviewed. And so this just, I really can't stress enough how much work has gone into this by the committee, by town staff, but also by all of these consultants that were really interested in this project. So we were looking for a firm that had a clear engagement strategy to help us build trust and to help us create shared aspirations for the project with our residents. And we wanted a firm that was strong in developing pragmatic financing and governance strategies to help us prepare a phased implementation plan. And we were interested in a firm that also had local connections in Connecticut or nearby. But mostly we wanted a firm that would capture the uniqueness of Great Island, and that Reed Hildebrand really stood out as a firm that could envision a future for the land that respects its past while planning for a sustainable future. They excel in blending nature and design in a way that enhances both, creating spaces that people will enjoy and value. So we voted unanimously to recommend Reed Hildebrand as the master plan consultant for the Great Island Phase 1 and Phase 2 project.
Yeah, I participated in all the interviews of the consultants as well as sort of bystander to the committee. And I concurred with the Great Island Committee's recommendation. I think Reed Hildebrand is a terrific firm. We've not only heard them in the interview, but at a presentation that they gave to the DMA last fall. Becca Sturgis, who is the principal or sort of lead consultant that would work on this project and led their efforts. I think there's just a certain humanity about her that will contribute sort of greatly to us getting a really well-designed project, and one that this generation and future generations will be quite proud of. So I was very impressed with what they brought to the table, and I think we'll also be very well served by them. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this?
You know, John, I'll chime in just quickly since I'm on the committee and participated in the interview and the selection process, that it was a very thoughtful and robust process. And each of the members on the committee really drilled down and really vetted each of these candidates. So I feel very confident in the selection, in that we really worked extremely hard to suss out that, you know, this entity would fulfill our needs at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, and kudos to you and Monica, as well as the whole committee. I mean, I watched and saw how much work went on, not just in the committee meetings, but in preparing the RFQ and RFP process, sorting through all that, organizing the interviews. It was a full-time job. So, Marcy, Sarah, anything from you guys?
No, I appreciate the revised proposal that has come down. Based on the changes in the timeline, I greatly appreciate your recommendation. It's definitely a process you've been very involved in for months now, so very much appreciate that.
Okay. Kate, what vote or resolution do we need on this?
Well, you're gonna actually I wrote it out. You're gonna want to have two. You're gonna want one for this and then one for Redness and Mead.
So
Did
Kate,
they, just quick question, did they give you an estimate on when they can start?
Yeah.
That
can
would
I
be
go,
Monica.
yeah, can I go through the numbers also?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so, Marcy, to your question, they will be, the first thing that they will do is do kind of a deep dive onto the island and really explore it from all angles, from, land, from the water, from the buildings, wildlife, everything like that. And we will have, they will have two, let me just see if I have my notes here, two, community engagement meetings. And the first one will be, the first meeting on this will be around the middle of July. And the first community engagement meeting will be, I think, the week of September 16th. So Sarah, you caught that the schedule for Vision One, the first phase was lengthened a little bit, and that's to take into consideration Darien calendar and to make sure that we were doing the community outreach, especially the first one, which I think will generate a lot of interest when people were in town, right? So we wanted to do it as soon as possible, but make sure that it was, when people were back for school. So the initial price on the Reed Hildebrand contract for phase one and first phase two was $1,661,555. They reduced the price. We met with them and had a good discussion, and the price was reduced by 18%, $299,081 to $1,362,474. Now, we are going to next talk about Redness and Mead and how they will factor into this. They will be another consultant on this project. And some of the services that Redness and Mead offers would be redundant with Reed. They already had some of those. So they gave us a credit of $20,000 against the Redness and Mead contract. So that reduces the price to $1,347,474 after also taking out $5,000 for the bond counsel. So if we add a contingency of 5.75% or $77,526, the final request will be $1,425,000. That will include a contingency, about $5,000 in bond counsel fees, and a $20,000 credit for Craig Flaherty from Redness, and a reduction of the 18%. So bottom line, the number is $1,425,000.
Yeah, that's typically not as large a contingency as you might find in a full-blown sort of building committee project where you have actual construction and where the costs can vary more greatly just because of materials and unforeseen construction-related events. So this contingency seems to work for me. And you've teed this up with the RTM, haven't you, Monica?
Yes, I did. And
Okay.
I want to stress that the reduction in the fee, the 18% reduction, we were very adamant that the financial advisory portion of the budget should not be cut, and the community engagement schedule should stay the same. So those two were not impacted by the reduction in fees. Just want to make that clear.
Okay. Questions, anyone for Monica on this? Okay, so we need line here. All right, we need a
Would you like me to read a suggested
Yeah,
motion?
yeah, if you don't mind, I don't have paper copies in front of me.
Yep.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so my suggested motion was to combine the two. A motion to approve the request to hire Reed Hildebrand to develop the master plan and Redness and Mead as the town's consultant and to serve as liaison between the town and Reed Hildebrand.
Okay, could someone please move that resolution?
I'll move.
Monica moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. And then the second one, Kate?
No, that was just one. That's it.
Oh, one.
I made it one motion.
Oh, fantastic. Great. All right. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Next up is discuss and take action on a request for a special appropriation and bond authorization for the preparation of that master plan. Kate.
Right. So the Board of Finance had passed this when we requested a special appropriation of up to $2 million. And so they passed a bonding authorization and appropriation. What you want to do tonight is approve that, but with a reduced amount of the $1,425,000 as Monica just laid out for you.
And just to be clear, since this resolution now is different than the one the Board of Finance approved, do they have to look at it again, or does it go directly to the RTM because all we did was reduce it?
Legally, it can go directly to the RTM. I do understand that Mr. Palin would like to have a meeting of his board just to confirm that they agree. But that
Okay.
isn't legally necessary.
Okay. All right. Well, we certainly, I mean, that's completely
That's
fine.
his,
And we're happy
yeah.
to answer questions about that. Okay. Any questions on that bond resolution? Okay. Could I get a motion to approve a resolution appropriating $1,425,000 to develop a master plan to utilize and repurpose a 60-acre Long Island Sound waterfront property and authorizing the issuance of bonds and notes in the amount of $1,425,000 to meet said appropriation?
I'll move.
Monica moves, Mike seconds, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, great. All right. Next item up is Hanson Road Bridge. So discuss and take action on a request to authorize the first selectman to enter into easement agreements for the Hanson Road Bridge. The quick background on this is that in order to do the repairs on that bridge, we're having to use some private property to do it. There's 3 pieces of private property that intersect on Hanson Road, and we're going to need to get easements from those folks in order to do this. And so basically what we have are agreements with those 3 property owners that will create the easements that we need to do this work that I would need to sign. Kate, can you summarize further?
Ed and Darren are both here
Oh,
to.
gentlemen, I'm sorry. Ed, why don't you pick up where I left off, please?
And I'm quickly going to hand the baton to Darren. He has shepherded this project all the way through and has collected these easements. So I wanted to have him give you just a quick update where we are and why we're here. So
Perfect.
Darren, go ahead, take the baton.
Go ahead, Darren.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. You summarized it well. We need 3 easements. It's all laid out, how much we're going to pay for the easements. The current status is we plan to advertise this to bid on the 13th. We plan to collect bids and open them on Monday, July 1st. There is a water line component to this, which we're waiting for the water company to approve their portion of the project. It's important to note that the water line portion will be paid for 100% by the water company. Also, Ed and our consultant went upstate and got 50% funding for the project through the state local bridge program. We will be filling out and submitting a supplemental application sometime this week. That's the status. The easements have all been signed by the affected property owners through a long negotiation period. We've ironed out all of our differences. And I guess if there's any questions.
Darren, can you briefly summarize the costs to acquire these easements?
Yeah, yes, the total cost is 26,860. Now, the three easements are all unique. So 88 Hanson Road is the most expensive easement. The easements are necessary. I should probably back up and tell you why they're necessary. The easements are necessary for a number of reasons. One reason is because we need to bypass the river so we can build the bridge and install the water line. So 88 Hanson Road is the most expensive. It's $12,590. And their property is going to be affected by a temporary easement for construction where we're going to bypass the water, and also a permanent easement. We're actually taking a part of their property specifically and permanently for use of an installation and maintenance of a guide rail system to upgrade the substandard guide rail there. The next property is on the corner of Linda and Hanson, and that is the next expensive one. That's 9,260. And that one is just a temporary easement. We will need to get onto their property for slope enhancements and things like that, but we're not going to take a permanent easement from them. And then lastly is Fort Tinhollow Tree, which is the Weber and Country Club, $5,010. And we're going to take a permanent easement and a temporary easement from the Country Club. And the Country Club property, the bridge will actually, a portion of the bridge will actually be on their property. If you cross the bridge, you will see the bridge is close to the Country Club, and actually the reverse is true. The Country Club property is very close to the roadway. So in that particular instance, we could not build the bridge without encroaching onto their property. The wing walls will go out onto their property a little bit. Those are the three easements.
Okay. Well, if any of those property owners are listening, please know how much we appreciate their help and cooperation on all this. I know we're compensating them for these easements, but it does entail some inconvenience for them to allow us to get this important work done, but we do appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions on this?
Ed, is the state money, is it 50% of the easements as well?
It includes the right of way
Yes.
and construction costs. Yes.
Okay.
$1,021,125.
Is the amount of the state funding.
Right, that's 50%.
It's got it. Okay.
And John, we're going to be submitting a supplemental, which will include possibly an update to the total cost to the state DOT as part of part of their local bridge program. We have to give them a supplemental update as we go to bid.
Got it. Okay.
We're planning to do that this week.
Other questions or comments? Okay, could I get a motion to authorize the first selectman to enter into easement agreements for the Hanson Road Bridge project? Mike moves, Sarah seconds, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you. All right. So we have a transfer we need to discuss and take action on a request for a transfer of $25,480 for police station maintenance. Kate.
Sorry, I was expecting the other next. I just need to get the
sorry.
paperwork.
John, I was going to offer up an add to the agenda under new business. I didn't know if you wanted to do
Yeah.
that before you go to transfers or after.
I was going to do it after transfers.
Okay,
but
got it.
If
problem.
there's a requirement, we need to do it before that, Kate, then.
No, there's no requirement.
Okay.
So this transfer is needed because the police department has had a number of unplanned service issues and equipment issues that they had not budgeted for. HVAC fan needing to be replaced, testing the fire suppression system, generator service, etc. They are transferring the funds from within their budget from other accounts that had positive balances. Those are available tuition because not everybody took courses that we had expected, and the records contract, we have remaining funds. Not sure why.
Sarah,
But this,
Hey, my question is about the fire suppression system. I thought we had an item that we voted on this. I
right.
feel
So
like
you
it was
voted
recent.
to fix it. This was the
Okay.
testing that had been done previously that, made clear to us that we needed to fix it.
Okay.
other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Could I get a motion to approve and recommend a transfer of $25,480 for police station maintenance? Okay, Mike moves, Marcy seconds, all in favor? Okay, great. All right, we had one new business item that we need to cover that we didn't get on the agenda. Could I get a motion to go into new business? Sarah moves. Mike second, all in favor? Okay. So this new business is the appointment of Paige Gosling to the HHR Building Committee. We need to get her on to replace someone. So Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Paige is an incredible new addition to the town who has one small child in Hinley and has another one coming up, has an incredible background with real estate and would be a phenomenal addition. Found her incredibly reasonable and rational and lovely to work with. So I know Chris Price, who's on the meeting tonight, has worked with her for years. So we're excited about the prospect of her joining. So I would heartily recommend us appointing her this evening.
We love reasonable and easy to work with, and we all sat in on the interview with her. She's terrific. So we're really appreciative of her and others like her who volunteer for heavy lifting jobs like this that we are all intimately familiar with. So thank you, Paige, for volunteering for this important job. Chris, I see you're on there. Any comments or questions from you?
No, I just wanted to sit in and make sure that this was taken up, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. I've worked with Paige as a client of mine for quite a while, and I think she's going to be a great addition to the committee. And the timing is perfect because we are tonight 2 weeks away from construction start. So we're excited to get going.
Okay, load that up with people who can keep you out of trouble, right? Excellent. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Could I get a motion to approve and appoint Paige Gosling to the Henley Holmes Royal Building Committee? Marcy moves, Sarah seconds, all in favor? Okay, approved. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Really
Chris.
appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks. Okay.
John, before you
yes.
adjourn, I have just one item for you, just informative, really. Jen Charneski asked me to let you know that the Board of Finance had authorized the two of us to make small transfers within the ARPA fund from the contingency, which is only about $1,000 at this point. And the Board of Finance wanted the Board of Selectmen to be aware.
Oh, it approved you and Jennifer, or you and me?
Jennifer and me.
Oh, terrific. Okay, fine. Okay.
That's it.
Anything else on your end, Kate?
No.
Okay.
Before we
Anything
adjourn,
else?
are we doing agenda review, or it's not on here, so we'll wait till next time? Or-
I left it off trying to keep the meeting short.
Can we add that, Kate? If you have something, Mike.
Or if you have something, just to email us in the office.
Okay. I mean, I'll just say very briefly to review some of the parking and permit regulations, but I will I'll put it in an email to the group related to the train stations.
That
John,
sounds good. Yes, Monica.
John, can I just make a public service announcement?
I'd appreciate that. Please do.
Okay, so here's some good news. I think you all know that we were in touch with the Connecticut Film Office regarding filming on Great Island, and I'm excited to announce that a historical recreation TV series will be filming the Battle of Lexington and Concord from June 17th to June 25th. And this is the third show in a 4-part series, and I believe they filmed the other 2 shows at Waveney. The filming will take place over 1 week. The island will remain open to our residents as usual. Filming will be focused more on the stables, a couple of the tack room and one of the offices in the stable building, down by the beach, by the little beach cabin, and in the main house. And most of the filming will be done during daytime, so there won't be the big lights that sometimes you see with these productions. And it's about 50 crew member and cast, so that's a relatively small film. They will have limited driving onto the island, but I wanted to say this because I have been bringing them out there for some pre-work, so I just want people to understand that that's what's going on. The town will receive $3,500 a day, totaling $24,500 for the duration of the filming. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more, The Men Who Built America is available on the History Channel. And this is one of their more well-known productions.
Terrific. Well, kudos to you for working with those folks to negotiate it. It sounds very exciting, so that's cool.
It's like, John, did you try out for a role?
No, I will throw my name in the hat. I'm sure I could do something and be as dramatic as possible, or misuse weapons or something like that. I'm frequently a stand-in for people like Tom Cruise and others, so they.
Yeah.
I think John already has a trailer. It's like, ready to go.
You get the handsome award. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, terrific. I appreciate everyone doing this one by Zoom. Our next meeting is in person, correct, Kate? Yeah. Okay. We'll have our next meeting in person 2 weeks from now in June and on the 17th. And I thank you everyone for doing this by Zoom today. Could I get a motion to adjourn? Okay. Sarah moves. Mike second. All in favor? Terrific. We stand adjourned. All right, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Yep. Take care.